talk to us a bit about the mood on the ground, if you may, of these farmers. Is this something that is going to offer hope to them, or it's just another promise that might not just be kept?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on the show. I think that farmers are definitely waiting for their payments. We have to remember that the exercise of buying 270,000 plus tons is one that is extensive, and it requires time and attention to make sure that also the payments are being made to the right farmers, and that's ongoing. I think to date it's about 156,000 farmers that have been paid out of probably a total of 350,000. I think the mood is improving. I think that the Prime Minister last week made some statements to the Tanzanian Agricultural Development Bank to speed up that process and to make sure that farmers are paid by the end of the month. So I do think it brings hope to them.
Right. If we talk about this delay, of course, a day in any business person's day, as far as the delay is concerned, is worth a lot of their time, of their what they do and plan. So how can you gauge the impact of this delay in payments as far as these cashew nut farmers are concerned, as far as their business is also concerned?
I think the impact is definitely huge, especially when you think that cashew nut farmers are at the bottom of the pyramid. So it's definitely something that has impacted their lives. But I think also there is some optimism there, because the government did step in to get farmers a better price, a fair price. If you remember how the crisis started, was farmers refused to sell. And this is what got the government involved. So I think that the impact has been huge, but I think that it's something that's being worked through. It's an exercise that was not planned. And so I think on both sides, everyone is trying to persevere through this.
Right. In your analysis, we're looking at by last week, 44% of the payments had been done by government. And we're now looking at by 31st. We are counting just a few days, probably a week or so, to actually receive the balance. Do you think this is a realistic timeline, or this is just something that might not really happen as anticipated?
Well, I'm not sure on the modalities and how the bank itself can speed up that process, but I think the intention from the government is clear: pay farmers as quickly as possible. And I think that the means to do that, I'm not very familiar with how they're going to speed that up, but I think that the intention is there, and I think that it's always good intentions abound.
Right. And if you're looking at this particular crisis and looking ahead of the future in terms of, these are farmers who probably had taken some loans and now they had a bit of difficulties because of this delay in payments. How do you foresee the relationship going forward between banks, lending institutions, and those who are practicing cashew nut farming in Tanzania?
I think that this is a start of a new chapter for Tanzania, especially in the cashew nut sector, because what we're seeing now is a focus on processing and value addition. I think that the banks also have a role to play in that. I think they need to be crowded in to support the sector, which is a key sector for the country as the #1 traditional export, as the #1 Forex earner for the country. So I think that going forward, I think that it does bring some optimism in that we're going in the right direction. I think that there is going to be some short-term pains, but I think the future is bright.
You mentioned short-term pains, and you trigger me to ask you what they could have been as far as looking at cashew nut as a top export for Tanzania. How has this in a way affected the Tanzanian economy? I know in the beginning we spoke about the impact on the farmers, but let's talk a bit about the economy of Tanzania to be specific.
Yeah, I think anytime you have such an important Forex earner such as cashew, It's going to affect your balance of payments, your current account. It's not clear yet what that impact is going to be or how it can be mitigated, maybe from influxes in the capital account. I'm not sure. But I think that it's something that yes, you do have to go through some short-term pain to realize a more prosperous future, a more prosperous cashew nut industry. I think for not just the country, but also for farmers, especially.
Right. And so do you think, or do you agree to the point that actually for the industry to grow, then they need to go through this pain, baptism by fire, some would call it, because I'm trying to think about the future. What sort of lessons have been learned here so that such a crisis or such a situation does not occur again?
Yeah, I think you're right that you have to go through this, like you said, baptism by fire. It's something that you learn from, and how you make sure that this doesn't happen again is essentially a renewed focus on value addition, on processing, which we're seeing, re-incentivizing processing, supporting entrepreneurs in processing, crowding in banks to finance processing and value addition activities. And that will ensure that also farmers are getting better prices, and in the long term you will increase your forex earnings from a crop like cashew. I mean, there is no reason that cashew cannot become a billion-dollar export for Tanzania.
Right, Fahad, thank you so much for your time.